Yep, so I just recently installed radiomics. Just to demonstrate, I'm going to show you. You click here, up here, and it opens this window, and you just say install extensions, and you go into the search bar and you say radiomics, enter, and then it'll show up here. For you, it will have the option to install it. Once you install it, then you will have to restart Slicer. Yeah. So once you've done all of that, then you can start watching this video again from here. Okay. So now I'm just going to load up the cases you've sent me. Well, I don't know. Here we go. Right, so now I'm seeing the segmentation you've done. So what I'm going to do is I want to be able to see the segmentation really clearly. So I'm going to go into, okay, and I think it's really hard to see what you've actually drawn around, and I'll have to just check that again. So let's assume that I'm happy with your segmentation, right? So the process is then as follows. I'm just going to go to radiomic. Track information. So here it says what features you want. I say I want to select all features. Then it says settings 25. Usually 64 is what a lot of publications are supporting, so I'm going to select 64 bin width. All right. Then I'm going to say resampled voxel size. Okay. Now, if you hover over resampled voxel size, it'll tell you that it should be 3 floating point numbers separated by comma, defining the pixel size, and it is in millimeters, so you just use something like that, right? And then you will get this table, okay? And just to give you an idea, you've got, for one case, you've got 145 features. That's a huge number. So we'll have to do something about that, but that's for later. So you want to save this table, okay? And now you can see here, right? And I'm not going to save that. Right, so AJ48, okay, let's call it that. AJ48. Okay, it's going to go back into the same drive. You can change where you want to save it by clicking it, and you can select a different directory, right? So yeah, maybe we should do that. Let's go ahead and create a new drive directory for new folder saying radiomics features. And let's save all the features here. Save. Okay, now he's saying, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. So you've saved it. Now I'm going to move on to the next case, okay? Data, choose a directory, and that's the next case. Open it. Right. So that's AM46. I'm going to remember all of that. It's important to keep track of all the names, because as you add cases, Slicer will store the old ones in its system as well. So that looks fine. I think that is a different case. Yep. So now once again, so now I've got another segmentation. Interestingly, if I go back, then I can see that you have now added a case. So that's going to make things a bit messy, because you've got segmentation here, but I can see that you've got a identifier, so you've got to remember that the one we're looking at is this. So maybe I'll just click the eye here, and you know, that'll just hide everything relevant to this guy, especially the segmentation I don't want to get confused with. Another way to do this is that you can simply take all of the data regarding to that previous guy and delete it. That's probably best. So before you start a new case, you just should delete everything that's there for the previous one. Actually, I'll just to be on the safe side, I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to load again, and this guy. Okay, so remember that's we're in this data view. Now that looks clean. Right, so just gonna window it a bit. I want to see inside the segmentation. Once again, for some reason you've got two volumes loaded and I think they're identical, so I'm gonna deselect that. Yep, so they were both superimposed on each other, so I'm just windowing it just to look at it. Okay, so I can see that I think maybe in some voxels you've got a little bit of additional tissue out. I know it's difficult, but you might want to avoid it, and that's 1.5 mm, so that's all good. Yeah, I think how well you draw that will be important, because you don't want to catch any of the prevertebral tissue in it. So it's better to lose a little bit of margin of tumor rather than to add a little bit of non-tumor muscle or something else in it. So we call it a conservative region of interest drawing. Yeah, you want to be conservative and you don't want to overextend, because if you add some fat voxels from the retroperitoneum that don't belong to the tumor, they're going to give you some very wrong numbers. So make sure you stay inside the tumor, even if you have to sacrifice maybe 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters at the tumor boundary. Right, so I think I would like if you could go back to some of these cases and maybe delete a few of these extra voxels, and that's, I think you might know already. You just select erase. You want to have a fairly small brush, maybe this big, and maybe you can just touch it a little bit here. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so it looks like something's funny here. Right, it looks like there's two segmentations, one on top of each other. Okay. There shouldn't be two of them. Yeah, I think for some reason there's this thing. I'm gonna delete that. So I've got this left, and yeah. Okay, well, but now I've messed this one up. Okay, I can Control Z it, and it goes back. I think it's important that we just have one segmentation at a time. So this is how it should look. If you've got an additional copy of the same segmentation, then you might want to get rid of it. I think you do need to go back, and I don't want fat in something that belongs to the retroperitoneum. It's very important not to have that. Absolutely would be a disaster to see regions of interest having, because if you've got fat in a tumor like that, that means that you've got teratoma. Okay, so that is going to just destroy the project. So get rid of all of that. And you've got some kidney here. Okay. Enter. There we go. Yeah, I'm not happy with that fat either. Coming too close to the bone. Yeah, don't include partial volume averaging into the lesion, just to be on the safe side. Now that bit again, so that is, I don't think that isn't, I'm not sure if that's part of the lesion, I don't think it is. That's retroperitoneal fat. I think that looks like a solid tumor to me, so I don't want fatty voxels. Not only are they going to give us negative valued voxels, but they're also going to alter the histogram. And radiomics is all about histograms and ranges, so you've got to be careful with that. Now that calcium is obviously part of the lesion, so you know I want to keep those voxels in. Yeah, maybe that might be part of the lesion, but I'm not sure, so I'll just leave it like that. That certainly isn't. Yeah, just remember we don't want tons of tissue. You know, we've got a good representation of the tumor, so it's okay to miss a couple of slices. You know, especially for the sake of accuracy. Like if that is a vessel, you don't want any part of that vessel inside the lesion. So you just got to be very careful that you do not include, you know, any anatomical structures within your region of interest. That cannot be emphasized enough. Yeah, so I see that those are vessels. So, and you've got those in some of that. So you don't want any of that. So I'm just going to increase the size of this. Can't have any extra voxel. That will be disaster. All connected voxels, no disconnected voxel. So I think that is all an artery here. Okay, so you got a... Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, now that is almost ready now. Yeah, not very happy here. Right, so let's try again. Now that you've already used radiomics, it should appear in this menu here. So just click radiomics, and you already got all the features you saved before. And now you again create a new table. Table 4 is called it. Remember that name. And remember the volumes. So you got cap 1.5 here. Input region should be segmentation, right? And then you say apply. And this is also a good thing to see that, you know, that looks a bit disconnected, but I think it connects up. Should all be connected. Right, and so you got it. Now what you want to do is again save it, and remember the guy's ID AM46. So call that table. Right, and then you go back to that folder of radiomic features, choose that. So I'm going to overwrite your previous segmentation like so, okay? I don't need this, that can stay the same, just the segmentation. So you won't have to work on this one, but you need to go back to the other segmentations and make sure they're clean like I showed you. And then that is your responsibility. I can't check all of them. It's going to be too time consuming for me. Okay, so yes. Right. Now let's see how it looks. So let's say you've done that with, you know, all the stuff you've done, and now let's go open that folder. Okay, so we've got these two tables. Excel will open TSV files. They're called tab separated values, so it's not a problem. So I will go find Microsoft Excel. Another way is to just open Excel. And say, you know, open, browse. All files, open. Let's see what it does. If I just leave it the way it is, and then I've got to see what it does. Okay, so this is what he's done. Not really sure I care about the first column, right? Then you've got a second column. Okay. Right, I think yeah, I think what you want to do now is that you want to add just this column for each patient onto one master file. Say this can become your master file. You save it as back to RPMND, and you say it's Excel workbook and radiomics master. Okay, so he's going to do that, and then I'm going to open the other file for the other patient. Okay, and I'm going to browse, and I think it was this guy. Okay, open it. Same way, just keep the default options. And now I'm just going to pick up this column, so column D, right? That is what the relevant one. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to paste it next to this patient's column. Now I've got two patients' radiomics features next to each other. These are the variable names. And now I'm going to save this master file. So that was it. So this is the workflow. You want to clean up the regions of interest. Then you want to apply the radiomics, save them as a table, TSV format. And then you're going to keep on adding each patient as a separate column on a master radiomics Excel
According to Wikipedia, in
file.
computing, a comma-separated values file is a...
Yeah, so when you're done, just forward all of that work to me, and then we can do the stats. Thank you.